Prepare to experience the strongest radio allowable by law. Secrets will be revealed. Myths dispelled. From the studio gym where excuses never apply, it's Superhuman Radio with your host, Carl Lenore.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Superhuman Radio. Today is October 7th, 2020. The year is coming to an end, and we're all so happy about that. We have a great show planned today. In a moment, we're going to be joined by Chris Bell. Many of you know who he is from his documentaries. He does amazing documentaries. And we're going to be talking about, it's 2 years since the release of Leaf of Faith, his documentary about Kratom, however you want to say it, potato. And we're going to discuss what's happened in the past 2 years since the documentary made its debut. Later in the show, we're going to tell you how you could possibly be the owner of a $5,799 three-person far infrared sauna next week. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show, but let's go ahead and thank our title sponsor first, and that is, of course, Legendary Foods. Legendary Foods, their website is eatlegendary.com. If you use code SHR10, you'll save 10% off your entire purchase. If you are a low-carb, low-sugar, keto kind of person, you will find some amazing snacks at Legendary Foods. Do not pass up their tasty pastry. The tasty pastry is basically a Pop-Tart that's been upgraded. 9 grams of high leucine, high-quality protein, less than 1 gram of sugar. Can you believe that? And for those of you who are carb conscious, anywhere from 3 to 4 impact carbs per pastry. And put them in your kid's lunchbox. They won't know that they're good for them. They'll just think, hey, Mom gave me a Pop-Tart. But we know, and we'll keep that secret for you. Without further delay, let's get Chris Bell. How you doing, Chris?
Doing great. How you doing?
Good. So you and I bump into each other from time to time. In actuality, the first time I interviewed you was 11 or 12 years ago when I was doing a podcast for Dave Palumbo's website, RX Muscle. And Aaron Singerman, who was not known by anybody, was my co-host. And we talked to you about Bigger, Stronger, Faster, but also about living in the mecca of bodybuilding in the early years and what it was like and all that. And so this is actually the second time I get to interview you. It's pretty cool. See what happens when you stick around a little while?
Yeah, I know. Us old guys been around for a long time. Man.
Old guys, exactly. So 2 years ago, you set your sights on producing a documentary called Leaf of Faith. Before we talk about the documentary, why did that get in your radar?
So actually, it's really interesting. One of my best friends, his name is Matt Weiss. He's known to the world as Horseshoe. He's also known to the world as Luther Reigns. He was in the WWE for quite a while. He was the Undertaker's right-hand man, or not the Undertaker. He was Kurt Angle's right-hand man. He had some battles with the Undertaker and some other big names. But he sort of was a flash in the pan, you want to say, in the wrestling business because of his own choice. He got into pro wrestling, and he was a former athlete, and then he got into drugs, and then he got into wrestling, and then he got back into drugs. And so by his own choice and admission, he basically chose opioids and painkillers over professional wrestling because he had found other ways to hustle and make money and stuff like that. So eventually Horseshoe had a stroke, and I was really, really close friends with him. And our other good friend, Nick Thomas, who's now a big time Hollywood producer, we were all really good friends. And at that time, when Horseshoe had a stroke, Nick was like his roommate, and none of us had any money. None of us had any way to really help him, but we sort of came together at that time and helped him through the stroke and helped him sort of get back on his feet. I mean, he had to do all the rehab on his own and all that stuff like that, but everybody kind of like supported him. But then a couple of years later, he was doing great. You know, like he had this major, major stroke, and I see him walking around and he's great and he's got no pain. And so I'm like, dude, what have you done? You know, like you look great. You know, it's really hard to fathom that you could come back like this. And he was like, hey, bro, you got to try this Kratom stuff. And he was always kind of the guy that was trying to push stuff on you. And I'm like, I don't want anything to do with you, you know, because he was a drug addict, you know. And he's like, no, you don't understand. This is the other side of it. This is like the off ramp for me. This is where I found, you know, he's like, I doubted it too. And people told me it would help me, like the painkillers helped me. It would help me get out of pain. It would help me with my mindset. It would help me with depression and anxiety and all these things. And he's like, and I took it and now I feel amazing. So sort of just by seeing him and watching what he was doing inspired me to give it a shot, because I would have never given it a shot had I just sort of heard it in passing from somebody else. But when you hear it from somebody who's a major, major drug addict and like, no, this is the good stuff, you know, you're more apt to try it. You're like, okay, well, if this guy's actually using this, let me see if this would be helpful for me. And I, you know, right after Bigger, Stronger, Faster, I was coming off double hip replacement surgery and 6 years of opioid addiction. And I had gone through that addiction at the same time my buddy Horseshoe was going through that addiction. So we used to like trade drugs out. And, you know, it's like when you get into opioids, you become friends with people that are into opioids. And, you know, we were trading out drugs together, but now here we are trying to change the world together, you know. And that from him getting me into Kratom, I was able to get on Joe Rogan's radar. I'd already been on Joe Rogan's podcast several times. I went on Joe Rogan's podcast and talked about Kratom and everything it's done for me. And that podcast has sort of exploded the business of Kratom and people using it. I think that really helped. And then as you see in the film, which we'll get to a little bit later, I feel like Joe Rogan's part of the reason why Kratom is still around and why it's still legal, like why it's still here.
That's a great attribution to make to him. He has such a big following. Hopefully Spotify won't screw that up. But anyway, well, I should say the employees at Spotify who think that they should have editorial rights over him. But so the first thing that people are going to hear is, oh, opioid addicts turn to Kratom because it must be more dangerous, more harsh, more stronger. But the reality is that opioid addicted people don't want to be addicted to opioids. And the reality is Kratom, they see that as an off-ramp. Talk about the whole concept of like people aren't seeking out Kratom. They're seeking out heroin and stuff like that. Talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a good friend of mine who's a heroin addict that called me as soon as I finished A Leaf of Faith. And I thought he was going to call me and sort of lay into me about how Kratom's dangerous and all these things. And he actually said to me, you know what, I just want to let you know you're sending out a great message, because he's like, for people like me that were heroin addicts, I would never seek out something like Kratom. I would always seek out something more dangerous, more addictive, you know? And
right.
Yeah. And he said, just making people like aware of this is actually a good thing rather than a bad thing. Like no one goes from heroin to Kratom. Not one person I've ever seen has gone from heroin to Kratom and gotten worse. People might go from doing nothing to doing Kratom and then develop some sort of dependence on it, but they could do that with coffee or any other substance in the world, right? So, you know, the chance for addiction with Kratom is actually very, very low. And there are people that do develop a dependence to it. The people that develop a dependence to it in every single instance that I've seen take massive, massive amounts of it. So it's really hard to compare it to anything else. I mean, if you drank 17 cups of coffee a day, you're gonna get a dependence on it. Whether that's an addiction or dependence, it doesn't really matter. You're taking too much of it, you're gonna develop a problem.
And the big difference between dependence and addiction. So in addiction, the area of the brain that the compound stimulates, it not only stimulates it, but it increases a protein hormone called BDNF. And what BDNF does is it increases the density of these neurons that favor this molecule. So it is literally a physical dependence because the brain remodels. The area that likes that compound gets bigger and bigger and more dominant on everything that goes on in your brain. Dependence is different. So I'm proud to say I have struggled with caffeine for close to 20 years now. You know, back in the day, when I was training as a power lifter, I was using 600 milligrams of caffeine anhydrous a day, 300 before my workout, 300 after, so I can go to work. That blossomed to 1,000. Just 4 weeks ago, I was using 1,600 milligrams of combined caffeine a day, and it wasn't working for me anymore. So I could say, hey, caffeine is no different than Kratom. I am now, without the help of Caffeine Anonymous, 2 weeks and 2 days completely caffeine free, not even chocolate, and it was hard. The first week, I felt horrible. I had to keep talking myself down from going to get a Bang energy drink. So when people talk about Kratom, it's not addictive. It does not remodel the brain. It's habit forming. That is a big difference. That's a big difference.
Yeah. And I think people need to understand that, and also just be aware that, you know, Kratom used under normal circumstances, in my opinion, is probably the best thing that you could possibly use as a pre-workout, you know, as something to give you a boost in the morning and just make you feel better. I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic where almost every single person I know has suffered at least a little bit of depression. And if something can bring you out of that depression, if something can actually ease your anxiety of not getting paid, not being able to go to work, you know, not being able to support your family, if something can ease that pain a little bit, I am all for it, especially if it's natural. I actually don't think there's that much of a difference between natural and synthetic things. But what we do see is that a lot of times things that are natural tend to operate in the body a lot better, a lot cleaner, a lot more efficient, without a lot of these crashes that we have with other things that are sort of synthetic or man-made. So I don't think like necessarily it's always one or the other, like everything's got to be natural or everything's got to be a drug. I don't think one or the other. I think we need to recognize that things that are natural are usually going to be safer, usually going to have a sort of better come down than something that is going to be synthetic.
Well, they also tend to be more effective. So for instance, the chemotherapy cisplantin is a single compound derived from the mayapple. And Native Americans, hundreds of years ago, when they knew someone had an illness that was familiar to them, now we know it's called cancer, it would start wasting, they would feed them mayapples. They could just eat them. And the damage to good tissue was far less than using cisplantin, which is this one isolated compound. The same is true of full spectrum hemp, for instance, or full spectrum kratom, for instance. If you were to isolate, if you were to pick the two most active component in kratom and isolate them and synthesize them, it probably would backfire, I would believe. Because there's, from an evolutionary perspective, that plant's evolution developed these things to work synergistically. We call it stacking, right? When in bodybuilding, oh, we're going to stack this and stack that because it has a synergistic effect. But nature does that naturally. So I got to believe that full spectrum kratom would be way better than if they just isolated the alkaloids.
I feel the same way about CBD, right? I think within the THC marijuana plant, and I use edible marijuana here and there, and I really like it. I enjoy it. It's fun. You know, it feels good. It actually helps me a lot with when I do get pain, right? So, you know, the thing with the edible THC, it takes a while to kick in, and it takes a while to get going in your body. But what we were just talking about before that, because I forgot my train of thought here.
Oh no, we're talking about the full spectrum. Yeah, full spectrum.
Oh, full spectrum. Yeah. So I think the CBD component of THC works really well in the context of the plant. But I've taken CBD by the gallon, like tons of it, a lot of it. And I have never gotten relief from CBD for any problem that I've had. I know a lot of people talk about it, and a lot of people rave about it. I just personally as a person that's been in a lot of chronic pain, had double hip replacement surgery, know what real pain is and know what real depression is and knows what real anxiety is, I have not gotten relief from CBD. Otherwise, I would have definitely made a CBD movie. You know what I mean? Like it would have been so much easier for me to not go against the grain, make a CBD movie. I had people throwing money at me trying to get me to make a CBD movie, $200,000, where they're like, you know, they want to fund it because they want to show people how good CBD is. And I was like, yeah, it's just never worked for me. So I'll pass, you know? Right. However, when I found Kratom, it was a desire of mine to like, I have to share this with the world. I have to go out and tell people about this, you know? And every time I find something new, I feel like, hey man, we got to let the world know about this if they don't already. Right. So, you know, the next step from Kratom, even the next step after that, I don't know if you've ever heard of Ibogaine, but you'll hear Joe Rogan talk about.
They use Ibogaine, I think, for heroin addicts, right? Don't they use that for heroin addicts?
Yeah, but what I figured out through being in pain and hurting a lot is that Ibogaine, in my opinion, is the actual answer for this opioid epidemic because it also gets rid of chronic pain. So you're going to be blown away by this. When I've done Ibogaine recently, I did it 6 months ago. It took away literally all of my chronic pain. Now, when I use Kratom, I only use Kratom for the mental component of it, the cognitive boost that I get, because I feel great when I take it. So I will take it, Kratom, for that. But check this out. What Ibogaine does is it literally resets all the neurotransmitters in your body. So you were just talking about how, you know, it releases this chemical in the brain, makes this part of the brain bigger, you know, to be more dominant. Ibogaine will reset all the receptors in your body, including testosterone receptors, cannabinoid receptors, opioid receptors. It resets all these receptors back to baseline, like back to like when you were born. So you come out of it not addicted or attached to anything. It's literally the most beautiful plant and the most beautiful process that I've ever had the chance to be a part of. It was so spiritual. It took away my anxiety, my depression, my pain. I know it sounds like a weird cure-all thing, but I honestly think that this Ibogaine is going to be the answer for a lot of people. And I feel like Kratom and Ibogaine are brother and sister, you know, like maybe Ibogaine's the big brother that can take care of everything, but maybe for a lot. So Ibogaine's very expensive. It's also very hard to obtain. It's literally just, check this out. It's a tree bark. They scraped the bark off of a tree and they ingest it and you get high for like 3 days. And the way that they found this was it's so powerful that it gets elephants high. So they found out that these elephants were all doing this drug, acting really weird.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like Ibogaine. So a lot of people who have chronic pain, I have chronic pain. A lot of people who have chronic pain, they develop phantom pain. So you have frank pain, but then you have phantom pain because these receptors in the brain have been stimulated for so long that even if you remove pain, your brain still thinks the pain is there. It sounds like Ibogaine resets that. It corrects that.
Absolutely. I actually made a short film about this. It's actually on my Instagram. If you go to @BigStrongFast and you check, I think it's like 2 posts ago, I literally posted it on my IGTV. It's a 15-minute short film that explains my whole experience with Ibogaine. I just sent that to a lot of my friends who have injuries like this. You know, for one, and I don't know if he'll ever try it or do it, and I don't know if it can help him or not, but I feel like it could help like Flex Wheeler. He was having a lot of phantom pain
with his leg,
in his amputated leg. And I love Flex Wheeler. He's one of my idols, one of my heroes, you know, my whole life. And when I got to train at Gold's Venice and meet Flex Wheeler and then became friends with him and get to hang out with him, like I love that guy. If I can help him, I want to help him. And I would obviously never tell him anything that I think would hurt him. So I forwarded him that video and I just leave it up to them. Like I was in so much pain that I didn't know what to do. I heard a girl talking about Ibogaine on a podcast. So I sought it out. And the way that I found it, I don't know if you know who Dr. Tony Huge is, but Dr. Tony Huge he's a sort of a YouTube steroid kind of guru, right? And so I find a lot of things through some shady some shady sources, right? Like
instead of shady, fringe sources, fringe.
I call him fringe. Yeah. No, but I love Tony. He's like one of my good friends. But what I'm saying is that he operates on the underground. Like he operates definitely like in the underground and operates with people that can get their hands on stuff that you normally can't get your hands on. The beautiful thing about Ibogaine is it's a Schedule I drug. However, it's been decriminalized in Denver, in Santa Clara, in Oakland, and I did it in Oakland just to be safe. I went up to Oakland and did it in a hotel room, with these guys that I met. And like I said, I think that we have these substances out there like Kratom, like Ibogaine. We have these natural sources and things that can really help people. And I think we just need to learn how to use them better and get these things to be legal,
So tell me more about Ibogaine. So you said it lasts 3 days. Is it trippy? Is it mildly hallucinogenic?
It takes you to a different world. Yeah. It's I like how Joe Rogan puts it with like a DMT experience. He's like, it's not something that you could just dismiss. It's not something that you'll ever forget. We had Mark and I lost our older brother, Mad Dog. And one of the things was I always felt guilty about it. I always felt like maybe I could have helped him. Maybe I could have stopped this. And it's really sad that he passed away. And, I just always felt bad about it. I just always felt horrible about the situation. And I did this Ibogaine trip. And the guy that was administering the Ibogaine, his name's Amin. Amin told me, hey, look, you're going to see your brother. You're going to meet up with Mad Dog. And when you do, don't skip the moment. Just face it head on and deal with it and get through it, and you'll be done with it. And I really didn't believe him. I thought, like, this is something that's going to always be on my mind. I'm going to cry every time I think of it. And so I had this weird meeting with Mad Dog. Obviously, I know it didn't actually really happen. My brother's gone. He's not here anymore. I know it didn't happen, but it happened in my head. And my brother said to me, I'm okay. I'm right where I need to be. It's fine. My brother never wanted to be here. He would profess that to us every day. I don't belong here. I don't know why we're alive. I don't know the meaning of life, all these things. And so when Mad Dog told me, hey man, it's okay, I'm where I need to be, it just took this weight off me that had been on me for 12 years, this weighing down feeling of like, oh man, I could have saved my brother. I'm out here trying to help all these other people and save all these other people with Kratom and all these other things. And I should have been able to help my brother. And then it just didn't matter anymore. Literally did not matter anymore. Not like I don't miss him anymore, but it didn't hurt me anymore. And that I think is real, like just that alone, that's so important. You can't buy that,
Did you do LSD when you were young? Are you and I around the same age? I'm 62. How old are you now?
I'm 48.
Oh shoot! No, you're nowhere near me. Okay, yeah, so you didn't do any acid when you were a kid?
No. I was always, I say this in my Ibogaine short film, I was always against drugs. No real doctor would give you this. Like what? Like these people are telling me to take this to get off. No real doctor is going to give you that for pain. So why would I even believe it? Right. So I always thought that like mushrooms and acid and weed and everything that was for losers. That was for people that, didn't get it. And then after I got stuck on opioids, I started opening my mind to some of these other things. And when I heard people talking that like, oh, marijuana is not even that dangerous. Here I was drinking every day. I was drinking a gallon of vodka a day, going like, oh, look at all these losers on weed because this is legal, and this one isn't, right? And so I was held up by what the system tells you. Like you're a kid and you hear like this is bad and this is bad, but hey, everybody's out at the bar drinking and everybody's smoking. I chewed tobacco for 30 years. The day after I did Ibogaine, I took the tin of Kodiak that I chewed for 30 years and it was full, and I threw it right in the garbage. And I said, that's the last time I ever do that. And I haven't touched that since. And that's been 6 months. I think that's pretty incredible when you have a 30-year habit and you can throw it out in a day. Now, that
amazing.
And it does that for every single type of addiction. Now, the important thing is when you do something like this, it's important to tell people like, this isn't just a cure-all. you have to do some work afterwards. So after you do something like Ibogaine, you'll do it, but then you have to put in the work to consciously make sure that you're not hanging around the same people, you're not going to the same places, you're not putting yourself in these vulnerable positions to where somebody can creep right back into your life and put you right back on drugs. So you need to get sober, get clean, and then you need to work on yourself every single day. And that's what I've been doing since I've done Ibogaine. I've been just working on me. I've been, the other thing that's kind of amazing, talk about bodybuilding, anti-aging, all these things. I think this is the anti-aging panacea. Like, this is it. Like, there's nothing that anybody could say in the anti-aging world that will reset your body as well as Ibogaine. It literally resets everything, like you're a teenager again. Right. I feel great. I did Ibogaine, and like 3 days later, I was, I went from not being able to barely walk, and I was still like kind of lifting heavy, but it would always hurt every day. Right. And so the 3 days after I did Ibogaine, I came in the gym and did a set of 5 reps with 405 on squats. And I felt like amazing. And for the first time, actually, ever since I've been a kid, I've never been able to squat on my midfoot, like where you're supposed to squat. I was always like leaning back or leaning too far forward because my mobility sucked. And all of a sudden I squatted right down and I was like, had perfect balance. I'm going, this is so weird. I've never had this. I had a torn rotator cuff that I could barely like lift my arm. It still hurts, but I can lift, at least I can get my arm up now, right? I had my knee was so damaged that I had trouble walking on it. But like I said, went in 3 days later, started squatting, started walking 5 miles a day through the pandemic every single day. And I was having trouble. Like, I would come to the gym in the morning and Mark would say, hey, let's walk around the block. And there's a 1 mile radius block here around Super Training Gym. And we would walk it every day. Well, by the time Mark and his other, employees and friends, they'd be 100 yards ahead of me. And it'd be, 6 o'clock in the morning, and we'd be out there trudging around. And I would literally be in tears crying, not because I was in so much pain. I was crying because I couldn't do what I loved anymore. I couldn't work out. I couldn't even walk around the block with my own brother. And now we go on 7 mile hikes. We do crazy stuff that I was never able to do before. And like, Mark sees it and everybody else sees it, and they're like, what is going on with you? Did you just, like, people think it's like, oh, you just got in shape, that's it. I go, no, getting in shape is part of it. But I do a carnivore diet, and it's pretty hard to just eat meat all day. But once you do Ibogaine, you detach from everything. So you don't care about, like, if I got to just eat meat, who cares? Right. Like, how hard is it? I just heard you doing the ad for Legendary Foods, by the way. The Pop-Tarts are amazing. Yeah. But, how hard is it for us to stay away from stuff like that if we have it around? Right. It's really hard, but now I can turn those things down. Maybe not a Legendary Pop-Tart, but most things I can turn them down.
It not in your wheelhouse, that are not good for you, you can turn down easily now. Will you do a documentary about Ibogaine?
I would really want to. Documentaries are all about funding and money and getting money to do stuff, and being able to like afford to do it. So yeah, hopefully something comes along where I can do that. I actually did a short film, like I said, a 15-minute film that I just did on my own. And I feel like all I really need to do is just keep adding to that. So we have a lot more people coming through the system that I went to. The place that I went to, it's called the Red Pill Reset, because it's kind of like taking the red pill.
The red pill. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's basically the Red Pill Reset. They're in Denver, and that's the place that I went to. And it was a great experience for me. I would recommend it to people, but I want to get some more people in there. And I want, like I said, hey, look, if it can help somebody with phantom pain, the best thing for that would be to help somebody with phantom pain, get that on film and add that to the film. Right. And so if you made a movie about Ibogaine, what would you want to show? Well, I'd want to show somebody, first of all, we love to see vets, and we love to see them get fixed up, right? So you get some vets with, you get veterans with PTSD.
Right.
You help them out. You help the guy that got his leg amputated out. You help the guy who is just your typical drug addict out. Like, you help all these people from all walks of life, men and women, And then I think you just fold that into a documentary. Like, here's a bunch of stories of all these people on all these screwed up lives. And
yeah.
Now everybody's doing better. And this is why. And I really think that it would end the opioid epidemic. I really do. I think it would crash the party as far as the opioids go. And I think it's pretty crazy. I want to get it to Jared Kushner. I know people probably hate him, but he is actually the one.
Yeah. I have his email address. Legit. I do.
Oh, wow. See, I go the other way on things like politics. Like, if somebody's in charge of something, I want to talk to them. I don't care what affiliation anything is. So he's in charge of the opioid epidemic, and I need to talk to him about it. Like, I need to tell him, like, this exists. You need to watch this movie. Whether they do anything or not doesn't matter as much to me as, like, letting people know about it. Because eventually things spread,
I want to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I want to talk more about the documentary and what has happened after the documentary 2 years later. Where is Kratom? And we already have people saying how much they love Kratom and how it changed their lives. We're talking with Chris Bell. We're going to take one quick commercial break. Stay tuned.
New Mass Pro Synthogen X2 just upped its own legendary game. To distance itself even further from the rest of the pack, Synthogen X2 now has double the key active ingredients. If you've ever wondered what steroid-like recovery feels like, Synthogen X2 delivers. See why others compare it favorably to powerful bodybuilding drugs at synthogen.com. Mass Pro Synthogen. When you train with it, you'll gain with it. When craving a snack, reach for Select Savory Snack Sugar-Free Biltong, the healthy alternative to sugar-laden beef jerky. They use a fattier cut of beef, making it more tender and flavorful. For mealtime, choose from their 63 seasonings, which are sugar and additive-free. From chipotle rub to savory pumpkin spice, you'll find an option to suit your palate. Go to shrnetwork.biz/SSS today. Use code SHR15 to save 15% on any meat, snack, or seasoning. Savor the flavor today.
Are you still on the fence about Body Protection Complex BPC Oral from drseeds.com? Listen to Maggie Kuhn, one of the owners of the C-Bus Lifting Company gym in Columbus, Ohio.
I had been having some nagging tendon issues that weren't injuries, just things that were annoying. I'm 58 years old, so just older tendon kind of issues. For us powerlifters, we really don't stop training when we have just nagging issues. We just kind of keep pushing through. And I started the BPC. What I noticed was I was doing some heavy tricep stuff that would have killed me before when I had an elbow problem, and I was able to do this with literally no pain at all.
Go to drseeds.com, drseeds.com. Use coupon code SHR and save 20% off your bottle of BPC Body Protection Complex today.
Mind Bullet is a Kratom product derived from the coffee family to boost energy and creative juices. Mind Bullet comes in both pill and liquid form for the ultimate pre-workout supplement. When needing a little pick-me-up or to get through the morning fog, Mind Bullet will set your productive course fast. Go to shrnetwork.biz/mindbullet, all one word, today, and save 20%. No subscription required. That's shrnetwork.biz/mindbullet. Get yours today.
I love beef. And if you love beef, listen up. I've discovered the best tasting beef in the world, and that's not an exaggeration, at Piedmontese.com. The Piedmontese breed is famous from Italy for being lean and unbelievably tender, with half the fat and calories of traditional beef. Even typically tough cuts are tender when it comes from the Piedmontese cows. And for the first time ever, Piedmontese cows are being raised here in the USA. Get 25% off all beef and free shipping on orders of $100 or more at Piedmontese.com with code SHR. Go to Piedmontese.com and use code SHR today. You will never eat any other type of beef ever again. Do you remember those delicious toaster pastries you had when you were a kid? You know, the rectangular sugar-filled snacks? Guess what? Legendary Foods has just made low-carb toaster pastry. This is the first of its kind, and honestly, these things are amazing. They have 3 to 4 net carb, less than 1 gram of sugar, and 9 grams of protein. You can eat them right out of the wrapper or lightly toast them. The only question is, which flavor, strawberry or brown sugar cinnamon? They're available at eatlegendary.com and Amazon.
This is the Superhuman Channel, where brawn and brains finally meet.
All right.
Welcome back. We're talking to Chris Bell. Now we're going to talk about the aftermath of the documentary.
Sure.
So it was 2018 that you released Leap of Faith. What changed in the area? Because I know the government tried to outlaw it. There's some states that tried to outlaw it. And it's all because of the pressure of big pharma. They don't like losing opioid customers. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I think the first thing that actually happened within the movie. So I was making this film, and while I was making the film, it got to be things got to be really serious. Like we thought, okay, we're going to make this movie and then it'll come out and that'll sort of spark people to get on the bandwagon to help keep it legal. But right in the middle of making the movie, we're 3/4 of the way making it. Basically somebody tells me hey, they're going to make Kratom illegal next week. They're going to vote on it. They put out this website. They put out this thing. And, they're going to take comments from people, and they're going to consider those comments. And so I just thought right away, well, if I want to get people to go on this website and comment, what's the best way to do that? What tools do I have to get a lot of people to make a move? And the only thing I could think of was Joe Rogan. And I had been on Joe Rogan's podcast 2 other times for my other films, Bigger, Stronger, Faster, and Prescription Thugs, which are actually both available for free on YouTube now if people haven't seen those. So I had been on Joe Rogan before. I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to take a chance. I don't hit him up too often. And I had just seen him the week before because there was the Nate Diaz fight and the Conor McGregor fight. So I had seen him in Vegas and said hi to him and stuff. So I felt oh, cool, I'll text Joe. And I said, hey, man, they're going to make Kratom illegal, and I'm really worried about it. And this is going down. And I'd love to come on your podcast and talk about it. Or maybe you can mention it. And there's a petition. I was trying to throw out anything easy to just
give him a lot of options.
Give him a lot of options, even give him some outs, and he just said, come in tomorrow. He's like, I got to fit you in after this other podcast. But I can talk to you for at least an hour. And he gave me 90 minutes, and that 90-minute podcast had a lot of listeners. And so the DEA was saying, listen, if you guys can get over 10,000 signatures or 10,000 comments from Kratom users, we will stop the ban, and we will read all the comments and we'll consider them. That's sort of the way that they operate, right? If they get enough complaints, they'll consider it. Well, instead of getting 10,000, we were already at 7,000, but instead of getting 3,000 more, we got 23,000 more by just going on Joe Rogan. And so that next day they were flooded. They had over 30,000 comments. And so I called the DEA and spoke to them, and the guy was just kind of you got us, he was cool, actually. He's like, yeah, man, we got flooded with so many comments that we just had to stop the ban. So that was the first thing, is we halted a ban. We stopped it from being banned. And then since then, they've been trying to stop it a lot. But even more recently, as yesterday, I just saw a TV ad for the very first time, very first ad I ever saw, for the American Kratom Association. And, when I made the movie, we were working alongside the American Kratom Association. I'm always very careful to not get involved, because I want to kind of not be biased. So I couldn't really team up with the American Kratom Association and be like, hey, I'm going to be all on this one side, because they might have some agenda that would prevent me from warning people of other dangers or other things with it. So I never really want to get too attached to anybody, but they were, I would say they were an ally during the making of the movie. They had the same goals as I did. They wanted to see this be legal and something be used more. But I was actually really happy and proud to see an actual television commercial on yesterday. It was with a veteran, and he was running, and he was saying, hey, look, I was in so much pain when I came back from my deployment, and I started taking this Kratom powder, and it's been working great, and it's really helped me. And they don't specify a brand or anything. It's just very, plain. And just that awareness, though, the awareness of somebody watching that commercial saying, wait, what is that green powder that guy's taking? How is it killing this pain? It'll make them look into it. It'll bring more light to this. And I just think that, look, I mean, we already have the options of Advil and Tylenol. Those things work. They're effective. but they do have side effects. And, you know, side effects is actually just a nice term for toxins, toxic.
Right.
You know, that's what, like,
Right.
people think, oh, what are the side effects? That's a word that Big Pharma made up. So you don't say, what are the deadly indications on it? You know what I mean? What are the side effects? You don't really ask that with natural stuff, because natural stuff doesn't really work like that. You know, like, it's not like, hey, it's treating this and it does this really weird other thing, you know? So, so yeah, I mean, I think, like, since the film, I think the aftermath has been, you know, we've seen a lot more Kratom products on the market. We've seen a lot more people pushing it, but the problem still is the fact that you can't even order Kratom with a credit card. Makes it very difficult. Like, they basically just do everything in their power so that you don't do business. You know,
well, I heard they're trying to mandate a new standardization process. So there are 2 naturally occurring alkaloids in Kratom that are responsible for a lot of its analgesic effects. And they're trying to say one of them has to be below a certain threshold, which is virtually impossible. It's like saying we'll outlaw any grape that's used to make wine if it has more than 10% tannins. Like, you can't grow a grape with 10% tannins. It's not a grape anymore. So aren't they trying to mandate some squirrely like standardization process?
There is, and that's a catch-22, right? Because if you take, so there's 2 alkaloids that are really powerful in it. There's Metrogenine, and then there's 7-hydroxymetrogenine, right? If you just took Metrogenine out and isolated it, you would probably have a pretty strong, non-addictive, non-deadly opioid, right? One of the best things we could possibly create. And it's actually pretty easy. All you got to do is extract that one alkaloid. Now, because, like we talked about with other alkaloids and other plants, you still might get the same problem. There might be side effects to that. We don't know yet. We'd have to take that out and do all the testing on it. And are the side effects worth it? You know, are the other effects worth it if it does have that? But the 7-hydroxymetrogenine is in such a small amount in Kratom. It comes through the drying process of it. So when they take the leaves and they dry them, it forms this 7-hydroxymetrogenine. That's actually effective for pain also, but not necessarily as effective as Metrogenine as far as they know. And that part of it is also could be addictive, right? And that's still kind of up for debate. I think they say that the 7-hydroxymetrogenine is addictive, but it's in such a small amount that when you take a normal dose of Kratom, you won't get addicted. And that's why I think we do see more of a dependence, which could be an addiction at a higher level, right? It sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
Like almonds are low carb, kind of, but if you eat 1,000 of them, they're not low carb anymore, because now you've consumed, 100 grams of carbs from almonds, right? Because they're pretty low carb in general if you have a handful, but not if you have a bag full, right?
Right.
And I think it's kind of the same thing with these alkaloids in the Kratom, like where this alkaloid that could possibly be addictive, or maybe it is addictive or habit forming or whatever you want to call it, is in such a small amount. But the law states that if we now take these things and separate them out, we've now adulterated the plant, and that's illegal, right? So you can either sell Kratom as is, or you can pull the one ingredient out. Now it's an adulterated plant, and you have to do what's called an NDI. And those NDIs that have been put through, basically, here's the deal. Nobody with any real money has come through the Kratom business and said, if somebody came through and said, I want to put millions into this, and I'm going to isolate this, it would get done. It would just happen with all the lobbies and all the people. Like, you just basically have to pay people off, and no one's come along with deep enough pockets. Or like, if one of these huge supplement companies came along and did that, that'd be great. But the problem is now they're just paving the way, because you can't really patent it or anything. Their millions of dollars are just paving the way for somebody else to just throw it in their product, So
and let's be honest, the big pharma knows this, and big pharma is going to synthesize that, and they're going to change one aspect of the molecule, and they're going to patent it.
Well, they've already done that.
They have.
They've already done that. They do have products. Yeah, they do have some products coming up that are Kratom based, based on the Metrogenine and based on stuff like that.
And
that's how they get away with it. These laws aren't to protect people. They're to protect big pharma. So big pharma, people need to realize this. The government is only in business to protect their own businesses. And they protect big pharma because if they don't protect, that's the biggest campaign contributor. So they protect those things with these weird roundabout laws that don't make much sense.
Right. So I hear a lot of discussion about different strains, red, manga. I don't even know the name. I mean, I'm just reaching, right? There's red, there's white, there's green, and they all supposedly have different attributes. Some are better for analgesic effects. Some are better for the brain, cognitive effects. Is that true? Are these different species or strains really legitimately different than others?
They are different, but they're different in ways that don't matter all that much. So when, you have like the Mangda strain, for example, to me, so I worked, when I did the movie, I worked with this company, Urban Ice, and they had several different strains of Kratom. And I tried all of them, and the only one that really would work for me would be their Mangda strain. So I don't know if they're different. I don't know if it was with me, it was mental, but I feel like the Mangda one was the best one. And here's how they differ. They have different varying amounts of alkaloids. But first of all, we don't have a whole lot of science on what all these alkaloids do. There's like 47 of them in there. So I said there's 2 that are really highly effective, but there's 47 other things in there doing, or maybe more, possibly up to 60, that are doing other things, right? That have other attributes to them. So while the strains don't necessarily so here's how you get different strains. They're grown and dried in different areas. So that's what the strains are. Like the difference in strains is like, was it grown in, Thailand, or was it, wherever they're grown? It's all like Indonesia, Malaysia, all that kind of stuff. So where was it grown in the country? What country was it grown in? How was it dried? How was it taken care of? And that's really the difference, is like they vary in alkaloids, but they're kind of all going to do the same thing. So some people say, oh, this one's good for, you take this one, it's good for depression and anxiety. But if you take this one, it's good for pain, And in my opinion, they all kind of work for all the same thing. But I personally think that Mangda was the best one, and Mangda was the only one I ever used. So when Mark came to me and said, hey, listen, you know a lot about Kratom. We want to develop a Kratom product. What should our Kratom product be? Should it be a mixture of all these strains? Should it be this? Should it be that? Like, we talked about everything up and down, inside and out. And Mark's just like, let's just go with what you use, man. Like he just takes me as an example and says, like, you've completely changed your life around. You've come off of drugs. You look great. You've been training hard. This gives you focus and energy. And it's the one that Mark says, I really like this too. I like the way I feel. When I first gave it to Mark, I was worried because I'm the brother who was a drug addict. And I don't want to and I have a ton of respect for Mark. I don't want to bring him something that would bring him down, Right. I don't want to bring him something that would make him a loser, So I'm like, hey, I want you to try this. I want you to see how it feels. And when Mark tried it, Mark's like, man, this is amazing. This lights my brain on fire. This just makes me think, owning Slingshot and having podcasts and videos that he's got to do every day. He's like, this just makes me a thinking machine, and he really liked the way it made him feel. So we just all agreed that, the Mangda strain was the best one for us that we liked. And that's the one that we rolled with for using for Mind Bullet, and it's as simple as that. It's just what we prefer. I don't think there's that much of a difference.
I've taken a couple different, I used to buy that OPMS because it was organic. I figured, okay, it's organic. And it was good, but not like Mind Bullet is. Mind Bullet really does have more of a brain effect, in my opinion. It has more of a stimulatory effect, where the other Kratom that I've done in the past, it made me mellow. Like, it made me like chill. But Mind Bullet makes me feel like going to the gym and training. It makes you feel, like you said, it makes you sharp. And by the way, full disclosure, Mind Bullet is a sponsor of the show. And our audience gets a very, very deep discount of 20%. You can't find that anyplace else. If you go to the URL shrnetwork.biz/mindbullet, you'll save 20% off. Give it a try. Everybody who's tried it, my son is the one. He lives in California. He turned me on when I had my second surgery on my foot. I couldn't walk, and I was so depressed. And I was out in California working with the guys at Quest on a project, and my son said, "Dad, just try this. Just take 2 grams of this," and it was that OPMS stuff. And we went and we walked like that's when I used to wear a tracker. We walked like 17 miles through North Hollywood that night. And I said to Chase, I have no pain. I can't believe this. It was like miraculous. It was like spontaneous. Mind Bullet gives me more of a happy feeling in my head.
Yeah.
You know,
have you tried the potion?
He likes to say, you feel like it's got a big hug. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, so I'll tell you this, and I get this a lot still, even after doing Ibogaine and everything I've been to. If I go with Mark just, he just got a place in Tahoe, right? And there's all these great trails there, hiking trails. And I just went with him on a hike and just got completely destroyed. You know, like my hips hurt, my back hurt. It just gets achy. You know, it's like I'm out there for a long time. And even though I did Ibogaine and I reset all these pain receptors, that's great. But I can still get achy. I mean, we're all human, right? So you still will get pain after doing something grueling. And so I did that. I was all achy. I came back and I took a couple Mind Bullet, just a normal dose of Mind Bullet, boom, threw them down. About an hour later, I was like ready to go back out again. You know, and that's crazy.
Right.
Well, I didn't, but I felt like I could. And to me, that's just a great thing to have pain all your life and have something that actually is effective. And, you know, I just say to people, just like you said, just give it a shot and see if it's effective. And if it's not, like, you're going to know. This is different than CBD, where people say, hey, just take it. And then you take it for like a month.
Yeah. You don't even know if it's working. Yeah.
You used an entire bottle of it. Right. And then people go, well, just try another bottle. Look, man, with Mind Bullet, if you don't know by the first 2-3 times that you took it, if it did anything, then you're not, you know, it's not for you.
If you buy the jar, I think it's 1.25 grams per cap. Yeah. You take 2 of those caps, you will know within minutes. I'd say within 20 to 30 minutes, you'll feel it come on. And the first thing you notice is you just feel really like up. Like not even like a cup of coffee up, just a totally different dopamine up. And then the pain goes away and you just feel good. You'll know after the first dose, and you won't get addicted to it. You know, if you work your way through a bottle, it's not like, oh, now I'm addicted to it. You just take days off. Don't use it every day. That's all. Simple.
And I tell people that all the time, like, use it when you need it. I think a lot of us feel like we need something maybe every single day. And I think if you need something every single day, maybe you need to take a look at your life, and maybe it's not your fault, but maybe you're under too much stress. Maybe you're trying to do too much. So maybe you can peel back, but we shouldn't ever look to anything as like the only answer. Like, if you need a pill, if you need something to get through the day, you need to ask other questions. But something like this could be very, very helpful to you if you're already pretty productive and you're just having a hard time keeping up, you know? So I would say, don't rely on stuff, but utilize stuff to your advantage, you know?
So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about what you just talked about. I'm one of those guys. Like I either have to be taking a peptide or taking a pill, or I'm one of those guys. And I've actually had to change. And actually Ron Penna has helped me change. But Ron doesn't take anything. Like, he won't take anything. He doesn't take vitamin C. He doesn't take anything. And so he's given me a perspective on myself without realizing it. I want to talk about that because I definitely have an addictive personality. I did a lot of drugs when I was a kid. I never injected drugs, but I snorted plenty of heroin. I drew the line on shooting it. That's where I drew the line. Let's talk about that on the other side. Maybe we could help some people. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Mind Bullet is a Kratom product derived from the coffee family to boost energy and creative juices. Mind Bullet comes in both pill and liquid form for the ultimate pre-workout supplement. When needing a little pick-me-up or to get through the morning fog, Mind Bullet will set your productive course fast. Go to shrnetwork.biz/mindbullet, all one word, today, and save 20%. No subscription required. That's shrnetwork.biz/mindbullet. Get yours today. Want to improve mental energy and focus? Try the new Superhuman Stack from Pure Nootropics. Stack Dynamins, L-Butamin, Theocrine, and palmitoyl ethanolamide together and feel the lights go on in your brain. Find your perfect mix of these four. Carl likes 1 cap of each and 2 caps of Diamond. Bam! Lights on. Go to shrnetwork.biz/superhuman stack, all one word, today, and get yours for 25% off plus free shipping. That's shrnetwork.biz/superhuman stack.
My friends over at Bioptimizers, makers of industry-leading digestive supplements, have created a special recipe for you that helps boost brain performance in the morning. They make products Primergen V and Primergen M, potent liquid vitamins and mineral formulas loaded with absorbable vitamin Bs and trace minerals in a fulvic and humic acid base. You stack that with 3 capsules of Capex, their enzyme and energy supplement, and the effect is even stronger. You'll be buzzing without jitters or any negative side effects for hours. Bioptimizers calls this the Brain Boost Stack, and they're running a special promotion for you at shrnetwork.biz/brainstack. That's shrnetwork.biz/BRINSTACK. You can get an additional 10% off from the normal package price with the coupon code SHR10. It's a powerful way to get your brain going and optimize your daily focus, memory, and performance.
When craving a snack, reach for Select Savory Snack Sugar-Free Biltong, the healthy alternative to sugar-laden beef jerky. They use a fattier cut of beef, making it more tender and flavorful. For mealtime, choose from their 63 seasonings, which are sugar and additive-free. From chipotle rub to savory pumpkin spice, you'll find an option to suit your palate. Go to shrnetwork.biz/SSS today. Use code SHR15 to save 15% on any meat snack or seasoning. Savor the flavor today.
Quest Nutrition makes bars, cookies, chips, and pizzas out of complete dairy-based proteins. Our products minimize net carbs and sugar without sacrificing taste. Each delicious chocolate-flavored chip, cookie chunk, and crunchy crumble is custom made to maintain Quest macros. It's time to enjoy foods that work for you, not against you. It's time to enjoy your Quest.
Everybody wants to feel better, be healthier, and happier. If you don't sweat profusely on a regular basis, you won't feel as good as you could. Studies have shown the power of infrared sauna. Infrared penetrates 1 to 2 inches into the body. It helps those with back pain, fibromyalgia, arthritis, depression, and anxiety. Patients get relief from infrared sauna. The Good Health Sauna has been shown to be an exercise mimetic, conveying many of the same benefits as cardio. There are a lot of reasons people buy a Good Health Sauna, but the bottom line is you will be a much happier, healthier person by using the Good Health Sauna every day. You'll crave it, you'll love it, and it will be the best purchase you have ever made. Good Health Saunas provide commercial-grade saunas for in-home and commercial use, backed by the best lifetime warranty in the industry. Unmatched customer service and the best financing makes owning one easy and will fit any budget. Go to goodhealthsauna.com/superhumanradio to learn more and save 25% off.
You're listening to the Superhuman Channel. We're ripped and we're ready.
Welcome back. We're talking with Chris Bell. We were talking about his movie, his documentary, Leaf of Faith, which positions Kratom in a very favorable light because not only does it help people addicted to opioids find an alternative that's definitely safer, does less harm. We're talking about harm reduction when we talk about these types of things. But, you know, of course, the big pharma wants to squash it. They don't want to lose opioid customers. So I want to talk about something that you were saying a second ago, because I'm one of those guys. And I've recently changed. Part of giving up caffeine was this recognition in myself that I have a very addictive personality. And I feel like I should be taking something. And part of this came from back in the day, powerlifting, bodybuilding, you know, taking supplements, eating every 3 hours, taking shots, you know. And so it really is an amazing thing because I found that it's sometimes, I know this for a fact, addiction has an interesting component that has nothing to do with the biological changes in the brain. When heroin addicts start to think about copping, about going and getting drugs, the effects of the heroin already show up. Their brain starts lighting up, just the thought that they're going to go get it. And I think that some of us, we suffer from that, with whether it's, you know, oh, I got to take my vitamin C now. Oh, I got to shoot my peptide now. Oh, I got to take this supplement. What do you think about that?
I think you're right. I think I suffered from that too a lot, you know, before I did the Ibogaine. I feel like you just become attached to things. They become part of your persona. If your pursuit is to get big, you're going to take whatever you need to take to get big, right? If your pursuit's to get ripped, you're going to do what it takes to get ripped, right? And you're just going to keep doing that. So I think we just fall into these habits. And anybody that knows anything about addiction knows that all addiction are these neural pathways in our brain, right? And so we just keep going over. It's like, how do you make a trail? You just keep walking down, you keep walking through the woods. Well, how do you make a trail though? Well, you walk through the woods in the same way. And it's kind of the same thing, is that you continue to make these paths, and you'll continue to go down these same paths because they're easier to go down and they're fun to go down. You like them. And we have to, like, sort of now, when we get older and realize, like, hey, I'm not into drugs anymore, we got to go and cover those paths up. And the only way to cover those paths up is a change direction and change focus. And a lot of times the only way to do that is to make some sort of major reform or major change. Like you said, it wasn't easy to get off caffeine. You had to do work, you know, to get off of it. So I think we need to realize that, and then we need to figure out, like, what's the work we need to do to get off of this. And I just want to let people know that, like, you can literally detach from anything. So anything that people think that they can't break as far as a habit or whatever can be broken. You just have to figure out how to do it, you know?
And you got to be willing to do the hard work. It is hard work. And a lot of people, most of us go, I know I can kick it. I'll kick it tomorrow. And we literally kick the can down the road. Yeah.
Every day. You just keep saying, I'll do it tomorrow. And then, you know, you just end up in that same boat, and you feel like a loser too. And I think that's actually bad for your psyche, because there's so many times when I said, like, well, I'll just fix it like next week. And then the next week comes around, I haven't fixed it. And then that just makes me disappointed in myself. I feel like a loser, like I didn't accomplish something. And so that puts you also in a very negative space as well, you know?
Hey, listen, I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. Again, to the fans of Superhuman Radio, Mind Bullet is a legit Kratom product. If you want to try Kratom, or if you use it now, give it a try. Go to shrnetwork.biz/mindbullet, all one word, lowercase, save 20% off. And keep me posted on your next documentary. I'd love to help, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll tell you what I've been up to really quick. I've been working on a film, actually. I was just at Certified Piedmontese, which I just heard a commercial for on your thing. I was just there because I'm working with them and other people on hopefully doing a film about, you know, red meat, and sort of how we need to get red meat back into our diet, and the I wouldn't say anti-vegan movie. I would say the opposite of veganism. Like, what's the opposite of veganism? Is a meat heavy, protein heavy diet. That's what we all kind of live by and abide by. And I think a lot of us are a lot healthier than people in the other community. So I just want to sort of show that and put that out as a film as well.
So just this morning, I had a fleeting thought.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like, I'm always thinking about random stuff that just passes through my head. And I thought, you know, so vegans love to say that the vegan diet is the ideal human diet. And I always see different holes in that theory. And one of the holes I just realized this morning was collagen. There are no plant-based collagens. And collagen is a critically important protein in our diet. Without collagen, we would literally start to fall apart, because soft tissue would be sacrificed for its amino acids for other bodily functions. And you can't get collagen from kale. You can only get collagen from eating other animals. So that's yet another hole in the theory that the vegan diet is the perfect human diet. It's just not.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's just a lot of holes in it, and I think one of the biggest holes that people don't realize, that you realize as soon as you step onto a farm, is that you don't know what you're talking about. When you step onto a farm and you realize that only 4% of the planet is optimal for crops, for growing crops, Well, what do we do with the rest of the planet? Just throw it out, throw it in the garbage? Well, no. All that area where cows are grazing cannot be used to grow crops. People need to get that through their fat heads.
Yeah.
It's not arable land. And there's a lot of grasslands where cows and other ruminant animals can take these grasses that nothing else can do anything with. I just was on an 8,800 acre farm. The 8,800 acre farm is completely 100% useless for growing anything. There's a garden on that farm. The garden all died, you know. They had to replant it several times to get the garden to take even. So, and that's with tilling all the soil and bringing in new soil and all these things. So it's just like, it just doesn't work, you know. So we need to look at these things, and I need to put it in a film, a digestible form, no pun intended, an hour and 30 minutes where people can just sort of focus on the facts and focus on what this diet, what our diet should be, and how we can, again, reduce harm for the planet and reduce harm for people.
Yeah, I know cows will use a hill. A farmer can't plant on a hill. Brave New Order Films has been staying with us for the entire show. I don't know if you know who he is. He said Kratom helped cure him of alcohol dependency after going through a divorce. 7 years later, happily remarried, chef, amateur video editor, running 4 to 10 miles and working out after a 4 a.m. rise. So it obviously helped him with alcohol. Yeah.
That's my kind of guy. He's a filmmaker, former addict. He uses Kratom. Look at him, up at 4 a.m, loves to cook. I love that guy.
Well, there you go. Maybe you made a connection. Listen, Chris, thanks a lot. We'll have you back on, right? Okay.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. Let me know.
All right, take care. Say hello to your brother Mark for me. See you later.
I will for sure. Have a good day.
All right, we're going to take one quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about. I'm baffled. I got to be honest with you. I'm baffled. I'll tell you why I'm baffled. Because we're giving away a $5,799 far infrared 3-person sauna with a ridiculously small footprint. It'll fit in an apartment. And I can't believe that we haven't been run over with entry forms. So we're going to talk about that today. Only your odds are 1 in 300. Once we hit 300, we're pulling the plug and picking a winner. It could be you. You could have a brand new sauna in your home next week. Stay tuned to learn more. You had when you were a kid.
Mind Bullet is a Kratom product derived from the coffee family to boost energy and creative juices.
Everybody wants to feel better, be healthier and happier. If you don't sweat. Do you remember those delicious toaster pastries you had when you were a kid? You know, the rectangular sugar-filled snacks? Well, guess what? Legendary Foods has just made low-carb toaster pastry. This is the first of its kind, and honestly, these things are amazing. They have 3 to 4 net carb, less than 1 gram of sugar, and 9 grams of protein. You can eat them right out of the wrapper or lightly toast them. The only question is, which flavor, strawberry or brown sugar cinnamon? They're available at eatlegendary.com and Amazon.
Mind Bullet is a Kratom product derived from the coffee family to boost energy and creative juices. Mind Bullet comes in both pill and liquid form for the ultimate pre-workout supplement. When needing a little pick-me-up or to get through the morning fog, Mind Bullet will set your productive course fast. Go to shrnetwork.biz/mindbullet, all one word, today, and save 20%. No subscription required. That's shrnetwork.biz/mindbullet. Get yours today.
Everybody wants to feel better, be healthier and happier. If you don't sweat profusely on a regular basis, you won't feel as good as you could. Studies have shown the power of infrared sauna. Infrared penetrates 1 to 2 inches into the body. It helps those with back pain, fibromyalgia, arthritis, depression, and anxiety. Patients get relief from infrared sauna. The Good Health Sauna has been shown to be an exercise mimetic, conveying many of the same benefits as cardio. There are a lot of reasons people buy a Good Health Sauna, but the bottom line is you will be a much happier, healthier person by using the Good Health Sauna every day. You'll crave it. You'll love it, and it will be the best purchase you have ever made. Good Health Saunas provide commercial-grade saunas for in-home and commercial use, backed by the best lifetime warranty in the industry. Unmatched customer service and the best financing makes owning one easy and will fit any budget. Go to goodhealthsauna.com/superhumanradio to learn more and save 25% off.
Give yourself a reason to get back in the gym with Planet Earth Pre-Workout CBD. With a delicious blue ice flavor, this pre-workout can power you up to achieve your goals. After a strenuous workout, reward yourself with Planet Earth's post-workout powder. This highly advanced formula consists of premium-grade ingredients to support growth, recovery, and your overall performance. Power up, cool down, and gain muscle with Planet Earth CBD. Go to shrnetwork.biz/power and save 20%. Use code POWER. Don't wait. Order now.
Whether your goal is to build muscle or burn fat, you'll find everything you need at Redcon One. Need help getting a good night's sleep? Try Fade Out, or the most popular pre-workout supplement on the market today, Total War. Sign up for their new Transformation Challenge and win $10,000, or shop for apparel that people at the gym will know that you are serious about your training. Need a testosterone booster that works? Check out Boomstick. Whatever you need, you'll find the best quality supplements on the market at Redcon One. Go to redcon1.com. That's REDCON1.com, or go to superhumanradio.net and click the Redcon One banner ad today. You've heard me talk about the chill pill on the show and how effective it is at helping people who suffer from social anxiety, or sometimes when you just want to take the edge off to a long, stressful day. Well, listen to this story from Dylan Goutreau.
Definitely takes anxiety away, which I have a long history of having. Started out at 2 milligrams a day of Xanax. That was at 8 years old. And so I stopped using benzos 3 years ago. Extremely difficult. Yeah, so I spent about 3 years trying to find anything and everything I could that would be healthy for me to help with anxiety. Because I'm talking, full out panic attack. The chill pill was the first thing that I found that actually in the middle of a panic attack I can take, and it definitely subsides.
Go to drseeds.com. That's DRSEEDS.com. Use coupon code SHR and save 20% off your first bottle of the chill pill. Check it out. I promise this is one supplement that delivers.
Spit that out right now. This is the Superhuman Channel.
Welcome back to Superhuman Radio. We're joined by Eric Kralovetz, and he is with Good Health Sauna. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing very well, Carl. Thanks for having me. I always enjoy doing your podcast, and I feel honored that you have me on your podcast, and feel honored to follow Chris Bell, I followed him for a long time. He's very interesting, very knowledgeable guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. The Bell brothers in general, the whole family is great. So, interestingly enough, we started to announce Enter to Win, a $5,799 three-person corner unit, which takes up less space.
That's the same model I have in my house.
Okay, probably fit it in right in your bedroom if you want to. Far infrared sauna, the best far infrared sauna made. No toxic materials, ultra low, close to zero EMF production. This is the best customer service in the world. We got close to 17,000 clicks, but not nearly as many entries. And I said to Natalie's my director of communication and social media, like, I don't get it. People love free stuff. What's going on? And so I figured let's do a segment here and tell people what this is all about. First of all, if you've been living under a rock, you don't know maybe that sauna is one of the best things you can do. And not everybody has access to a sauna. Maybe their gym doesn't have them. A lot of gyms don't have saunas because they don't want the liability of somebody in the sauna slipping and falling or something like that on a puddle of sweat. And so having your own sauna at home is amazing. Sauna, there is evidence, studies that show that a sauna confers almost all the same benefits as doing cardio for your heart, for your lungs, for your brain, everything. And it's like sauna is amazing. There's even evidence out there that raising your body temperature on a regular basis reduces your risk of developing cancers.
Yes, absolutely. It's something that when you use it, you feel different. You feel better. You notice a difference. It's not like taking a supplement that, you know, well, people tell me that it's good for me. No, you immediately feel better while you're using it and when you're done using it all day. And it kind of baffles me a little bit too at the home show and stuff when we're selling the saunas, when people walk by the booth and they have zero interest. Well, it's like, if they knew what this would do for you and the benefits, you should be running to the booth and
to buy one. Right. They should
yeah.
put like they should put one in every house when you think about it, because of the benefits. And
yeah,
I get right out of my sauna and I jump in an ice cold shower. And you're right. I feel revived. I feel renewed. I feel refreshed. I feel amazing.
I've been sweating every single morning in a sauna for the past 5 to 6 years. It's the first thing I do when I wake up. I use the preset timer so my sauna's all warmed up. Even when I'm traveling and I'm on the road, I find a gym where I can show up and give them $10, $20 to let me in there. I'll get a little workout in, but I'll use the sauna just because it's almost, I would call it my performance enhancing drug. It puts me in a flow state. It makes me feel good. And when you feel better, you operate at a higher level. And so I maybe missed 5 days out of the last year from using a sauna and first thing in the morning.
So tell the audience exactly what this sauna is like. If it's a corner unit, so that means that it takes a much smaller footprint than even a side-by-side 2-man unit, right?
Yes, it's 5. So if you measure it off the corner, it's 5 feet off the corner in both directions. And then it's 75 inches tall. So it breaks apart in different panels. So it's not like you're bringing in a sauna through the doorway. You're bringing it inside the house one panel at a time. And you just start by putting the floor down first. All the heaters, all the electrical, that's already installed. You don't have to do anything you don't have to put any of that together. And then you just bring in each wall, which is a panel. And there's, let's see, on the corner unit, there's 7 panels. You know, there's 5 walls to the top and the bottom.
Right, a couple short ones, a couple long ones. Yeah.
Exactly. And you just snap it all together on the outside, and all the electrical just plugs all in on the top of the sauna. So it takes about 45 minutes to put this thing together. But then you got a machine in your house that will literally put you in a better mood immediately after using it. So I call it a happy box.
Do you need any kind of special electrical outlet to hook this up, or it just plugs into the regular wall unit?
It just plugs into a regular wall unit. All of the saunas take a 110 volt circuit. Our small ones take a 15 amp outlet, which is every outlet is at least 15 amp. The corner unit specifically is a 20 amp outlet, which just has a little, if you Google it, it's got a little T at the top of it, but it's the same thing. It's 110. It's normal. Most people have a 20 amp outlet in their house, in the basement, in the bathroom, stuff like that. But if you didn't have one of those outlets, it's pretty simple fix. Customers usually just have to swap the outlet, and you're good to go for the most part.
Is it the outlet that has to be swapped, or the breaker?
Both.
Okay.
As long as your house is newer, but it's usually and a lot of people put these in unfinished basements close to the circuit breaker box and stuff like that. So it's usually not a big deal unless you got a really old house.
So you could put this in an apartment. You could put this in the corner of a room in your apartment if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, we put them in apartments all the time, condos all the time.
Yeah,
you can put it anywhere inside the house. The only place we don't want you to put it is outside, because these are not built to be outside. Yeah. So, but other than that, anywhere in the house is good to go. And if you go to our Good Health Saunas Pinterest app or Instagram, Facebook apps, we are constantly updating it with pictures of home deliveries of our saunas into people's houses. So you can, if you don't know where you want to put it, go to those pages and just look and see where all these people put these, and you'll see every room in the house. We've had kitchen, we've had living rooms, we've had walkways, everything.
Right. And this is legitimately a $57.99 unit. This is shipped to them and everything. That's all included in for the winter, right?
Yep. Yeah. Free delivery, shipped wherever you want. It's fully loaded. Every feature that we offer is in the sauna. So it's got the stereo, Bluetooth capabilities, AM, FM radio with 2 built-in speakers, chromotherapy mood light, which is in the ceiling. So you have mood lighting. It's got the ionizer and ozonator, which help keep the sauna clean. And then it's got the carbon fiber heaters, the ceramic heaters, and it's full spectrum. So near, mid, and far infrared. And it's got timers, program. You can program the control panel. It's our most desired unit that we sell, and we're giving it away for free.
This is so cool. So we agreed that to make it easy to win, once we had 300 people sign up, we were going to stop. So the reality is that we have enough room for another 100 people to sign up. And as soon as those 100 people sign up, we're going to pull a name and give the sauna away. And we'll do it on the show live, and we'll also email that person. If you want to enter, this is a great time to enter. shrnetwork.biz/free sauna. Free sauna, all one word, all lowercase. Enter today. Don't wait too long, because once we get to 300, we're taking the banner down. We're going to pick a name, and some lucky person, probably next week, now that we're doing this segment dedicated to this, probably next week, some winner is going to be announced and is going to have a new sauna coming to their home. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. Free. It's free, but free is great.
And the winner gets our lifetime warranty free. That comes with it. So if anything ever happens, you know, our customer service is top notch, and we'll take care of you. We don't charge for any type of warranty stuff. So you get the lifetime warranty as well.
So get on this. Tell your friends, tell your family. There's enough room for 100. I think 101 people to still sign up. And then that's it. We're going to announce the winner next week. So please be one of those entries so that you may be the name that we call out next week on the show. All right, Eric, that's what we wanted to do today. I just wanted to get that. And I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today, brother.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me, Carl. I really appreciate it.
And we'll talk soon. We'll talk.
Sounds good.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. All right, so that's it for today. We have a really good show tomorrow. Let me tell you what it is, because I just looked at it and I was like, oh, wow, that's excellent. Hold on. Tomorrow's show is fructose and glucose and high fructose corn syrup deliver a 1-2 punch to health. We continue to discuss high fructose corn syrup. It's bad stuff, and new research shows why it's bad. So I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. You notice you don't see high fructose corn syrup on labels anymore. Is it gone? No. The FDA allowed the corn refiners, they got petitioned by the Corn Refiners Association to be able to use one of 3 different names: glucose syrup, fructose glucose syrup, and 3 others that I can't remember that Elisa knows. So high fructose corn syrup is still in food. You just don't know it's in there anymore because the FDA allows companies to be sneaky to continue to poison you. Think about that. Think about what that says about the FDA. Okay, don't forget, check out Mind Bullet. Excuse me. I want to get their link up here. For 20% off, go to shrnetwork.biz/mindbullet. And of course, don't wait. Go now to enter to win an almost $6,000 3-person small footprint sauna of your own. Go to shrnetwork.biz/free sauna. That's it for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching and listening. Take care.